class, and welcome to the instructional video on our assignment that is the parent interviews. So in order to access the assignment information, we're going to go to our main menu and click on assignments. So several assignments will come forward. So we're looking for parent interviews. Please know there's a 2 after the title, and also I have the due date, and notice that this due date may change based on when you watch this video. So you're always going to want to check that due date when you log into the assignments area. But the 2 is there because you have to do 2 parent interviews. You have to interview 2 separate families. So you're going to watch the instructions. And here you notice that we have the guidelines for the assignment. Also there's reading, so chapter 6 in Roots and Wings, and actually that's 2016 version. I'll make that update after the video is over. And then here's our different articles that I've provided for you, and then we have the grading rubric. So I do also provide APA resources for you because this assignment does require citation and giving credit to the sources that you use. So I'll give a little bit of information on that. All right, so let's get started. Oops, got all my very special stuff showing there. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek at the assignment guidelines. So I'm just going to make it so it's visible so we can see it. Know that you can also save it to your computer or you can print it. Oh, and maybe we won't. I don't know if I like that. It's not big. I want it to be full size, and I don't know how to do that. So I'm not stopping because I want you to see me struggle through this. I'm going to go ahead and open it this way. So I'm just going to go to open, and I hope that you're in my screen. It appears that we are. There we go. Okay. So like I said, know that the date will change whenever it's due, and you'll want to check your calendar and the announcement for that. So the whole purpose of this assignment is to really show that you have an understanding of the content of Module 4, which is understanding the different social perspectives of individualism and collectivism and how that can cause a cultural conflict within the childcare setting. So we're really looking at school settings and childcare settings. So I'm asking that you're going to interview 2 families. I don't want you to know them ahead of time, and I don't want them to be related to you, but I am looking at them having at least 1 child between the ages of 3 and 18. So it doesn't have to be a preschooler, but we're also not so much interested in infant families, so we're looking really at that age between 3 and 18. Both families have to associate with different cultural backgrounds, so you might have to ask them ahead of time, you know, what cultural background do you associate with? And notice this right here. I'm trying to make it not be having some computer difficulties here. Let me try this. Okay, there we go. So notice here it says that it has to be different than the student. So prior to the interviews, I'm going to ask that you develop 10 questions that you will use in your interview, and it's in order for you to gain a better understanding of what that family does. What are those families' rituals, beliefs, understandings about the world in relationship to their parenting of their children? So I do have some topics for the questions. You can see that here. Let me go ahead and highlight that to the end. I'm asking for you to have questions in the following topics: child rearing responsibilities, education, child rearing issues that arise when others, and others based on the assignment guidelines. So we're going to look again a little bit later on those questions here in the video. So after you conduct the interview, I'm going to ask that you analyze the parents' responses, and you're going to write a paper on that analysis. So the assignments can be graded using the parent interview grading rubric, and I'll show you that. Each interview is worth 25 points. So this is a 50-point assignment, and we are looking at our SLO for the course. We're looking at course number SLO 2. So for the procedure, so prior to going out, you need to do all the preparation. And actually, this is not Blackboard, it would be Canvas. So you need to go and read the chapters in the textbook. You need to do your discussion board, read your articles. The second thing you're want to do is identify a family or 2 families to interview that are not related to you. Again, I don't want you to know them very well, and they need to be associated to a different cultural background than you and each other. So we want you to get 2 different perspectives. Actually, it would be 3 considering yourself. So the third thing is I want you to develop a minimum of those 10 questions to ask the family in advance. Type them up before you go. And sometimes parents want a copy of them so that they can read it or look at it again while you're interviewing them. So make sure you bring an extra copy for the family. And then also it says here that the student will contact the families in advance to arrange the interview, date, time, and location. So if you cannot go, please contact them back and reschedule. Just be respectful of the family's time. Also, be prepared that families have things that come up unexpectedly, and so they may also need to contact you and reschedule. So don't wait till the last minute to do this assignment. You want to give yourself plenty of time to connect with the families. Next, we're going to ask that you meet with the families, collect a signed guardian permission form. I have it at the end of this paper for you for each parent. So, for example, interview number 1 is going to have a parent guardian permission, and interview number 2 will have that. So you'll be submitting those. The student also will ask the families the interview questions, and why they're giving you the answers, you need to take notes so that you can do your analysis. And then you're going to, after the interview, reflect on the process, reflect on parent responses, and that's when you're going to type up your experience. So you do have to type up a paper. It needs to be in APA format, which is a citation system, and you have to have a title page. You have to use in-text citation within the context of your paper, and you also need to give me a reference page at the end. So looking forward, note that I give you directions here on the paper itself. I also give you directions on the interview. You can see those are the different topics. And then I give you the grading. Here is the actual parent permission. So I want to address that next. So you would need 2 copies of this form. So that is the name of the parent or legal guardian, give permission to. So ahead of time, put your first and last name here. It says you're a student at Allen Hancock College and that you're going to do the interview on this date. So you might want to leave that date open until you actually go for the interview. It does tell the parent or guardian that you are going to record quotes and you're going to submit a copy of your answers to your instructor. So it's really important that you let the family know this information will be confidential. So you're not allowed to share this with family, friends, or neighbors. You're only giving permission, the parent is only giving permission to you to share it with me. And know that they can ask for a copy of your paper if they'd like. So the parent's going to print their name and complete date, and then they're going to sign their name. So please make sure that the parent or legal guardian is just that. They are the actual legal guardian with custody, with legal rights, because we do live in a very complex society. Children are being parented by lots of other folks, and they may not necessarily be the legal guardians, and that's who we need to have. So if you have any question about whether it's a legal parent or guardian, please don't hesitate to contact me so I can give you some suggestions on how to move forward. So now we're going to move back to the paper. So when you look at the paper, the first thing you want to do is provide me a detailed summary about the background information of the family. So one of your questions should probably be, tell me a little bit about your family, and then get some background. You know, where are you from? What comprises the family? Where do you live? What kind of jobs do you have? What's the roles? Those kinds of things. The next thing you want to do is you want to summarize the parents' responses from the interview based on your 10 questions. And then I'd like for you to discuss a minimum of 2 child care school issues that were identified by the parents. So one of your questions needs to be about, you know, when you've had your children in child care, or someone's taking care of them, or they've gone to school, you know, what were some conflicts between you and your family values and what the school was asking you to do or wouldn't let you do. So I'm asking for direct quotes from the parents there. Number 4, what impact did these issues have on the child family or the child care or the school setting? Number 5, what was the parent's perspective? Does the school understand how to be appropriately inclusive of the child and their family? And then number 6, based on the readings, what strategies would you implement to support that family in an inclusive setting for childcare or school? So I like to tell my students that pretty much each one of these numbers is a hefty paragraph. So each one of these questions, you should have a paragraph on that. And I don't just say, you know, your opinion. I mean, your opinion does matter, but what matters more for me is you back it up with facts. Because in our workforce, we can't just give our opinion. We're professionals, so we do have to, you know, have some type of substantiated system behind what we think. Interview questions. I did take these particular topics from the virtual textbook Family Relationships and Culture from 2016. So here's some really good information about family structure and what that should comprise. decision making in the household, celebrations, socialization goals. Here's child rearing practices. So these are some other examples of questions that you could ask the family. So overall, students will say to me, well, Thesa, how long does the paper need to be? And I would say that really good papers are probably 4 to 6 pages, because other than that, you're just not getting enough details. Let me get rid of that. Let me go ahead and go into the grading rubric. I think this is a really nice transition into that discussion. Make sure you're in my view there. Okay, so with the grading rubric, you can see that if you just turn in the assignment with all of its components, I mean, you always want to focus over here on the 4 column. You can get a 4. So I'm asking for parent permission, signed paper with APA format, 10 typed questions. You're going to get a 4 there. Next thing I'm looking at are the interview questions. You can see here that if you have 10 questions, they're typed, they're derived from my requested topics, and they're provided with what we talked about in the guidelines, and they're a foundation for robust conversation with the family. You're going to get a 4 there. Next thing we're going to look at is potential cultural conflicts. So one of your questions should be, again, did you tell me about some conflicts you've had since your child has attended childcare or school? So this talks about how the student identified 2 or more. So you need to talk about at least 2 potential conflicts that may have impacted childcare or classroom settings. The details have to include direct quotes to get a 4 from the interview with the parent and have details on how it would impact the program. So make sure you're very inclusive in that paragraph about all of those items. Then we're going to look at cultural context. That's our next area. And that's where I'm asking for you to share the parents' perspective of their own culture and how did the school understand their culture or did not understand their culture in a particular situation. And then here's your summary paragraph, the last one where we talk about strategies. So I want to make sure that you're aware that I need 2 detailed strategies from both issues. So you're going to do 2 strategies for the first issue you identified and 2 strategies for the second. It must be aligned with the textbook and other course materials. Citation is required. You can have errors in the citation format, but you have to have citation. So then we also have writing mechanics here, and know that I am looking for college level writing. I'm looking for proper grammar, punctuation, spelling. You can have like 1 error, and if I notice like a consistent trend with errors, I don't mark each one an error. I mark them based on trends, but definitely this is a transferable class to a CSU UC, so we need college level writing. If you have any questions about any aspect of the assignment, please don't hesitate to let me know. It is a really cool assignment to do. Students really enjoy it, and I think you get a really good perspective of the content thus far in the course. So questions at all, email me, tropke, hancockcollege.edu. Bye.